What's up guys, Chris K here with what I think may be the most important video that I have made this year. And I say that because I think Ethereum is the most important innovation that we have seen in the last decade, after Bitcoin of course, and probably the most important one still in the next decade as well. I don't really talk about price predictions too much. I try to stay away from that stuff, but we're probably gonna get close in this video because there's so much exciting stuff coming up with ETH staking. So close your other tabs and let's talk about the future of ETH staking, how much annual returns you can expect from it, and everything in between basically. This will probably be my longest video, and I don't like long videos, so that should tell you that you should probably watch every single minute of it and take notes, like for real. All right, so the first point of confusion is what is Ethereum 2.0, right? What does that mean? Will there be a new coin? Do I have to swap my existing ETH for something else? And the answer is no. Thankfully, we don't have to do anything on our ends, on your end. The coin is not changing or anything. What is changing is the stuff under the hood. And to kind of keep it brief in like a sentence, basically the Ethereum blockchain is switching the method in which it processes transactions, right? That's simple. We'll get into that more, but that's basically it. All right, guys, so before we dive in, I just want to say that the Ethereum community has kind of stepped away from the name ETH 2.0 or Ethereum 2.0 because it's a bit misleading. People just think that it's, one big upgrade that's going to happen overnight like that and just fix every problem, right? That's not the case. This is, we'll call it Ethereum proof of stake, okay? And this is kind of like a multi-year roadmap that I would say is probably 70% complete, and it is comprised of three major milestones, which you see here, the beacon chain, the merge, and shard chains, okay? So let's talk about that. I'm gonna give a super high level overview of each so you can get like a really good idea of what's happened, what's happening, and what will happen, all right? So the first upgrade, right? The first big milestone was the beacon chain. The beacon chain shipped December 2020, and it was a huge success and has been, live ever since then. Essentially, what the beacon chain is, you can think of it like a new railroad track that was laid out next to the current railroad track of Ethereum. And at some point, right, this builds the foundation for the Ethereum train to kind of hop over to the new chain, the new railroad track. And which leads me to the next milestone, right? So the first one is the beacon chain, establishing that railroad track that's new and more efficient, etc. And the next milestone that is coming in summer of 2022 is called the merge, right? This is probably the most anticipated one because it is the most significant one and probably the most significant, switcher upgrade that crypto maybe has seen, just because Ethereum has become such a settlement layer for, hundreds of billions of dollars that, there's a lot at stake here. So the merge is, remember how I said the beacon chain is kind of like a second new improved railroad track. This milestone now, right, the next step is for the Ethereum train to kind of move over and deprecate that old railroad track and now move on the new rails, right, on the new beacon chain. So that's what the merge is. It's switching from proof of work to proof of stake, which I'll get to later in this video. But essentially, Ethereum is moving away from the mining model and switching to the staking model, right? Which there's a lot of opportunities for annual return. I'll get to that in a sec. I don't want to overwhelm you guys, but yeah, like I said, this is kind of projected to happen between Q2 and Q3 of this year. I'm recording this in 2022, obviously. So yeah, I'm expecting like mid to late summer. Hopefully this happens. This will be huge. And yeah, there's a lot to talk about around the merge, right? So really quick, let's also jump into the third milestone, the final milestone of this kind of roadmap. And it's kind of technical, so I'm gonna do my best to explain it. And it's called sharding or shard chains. Let me just preface this that it is anticipated to be released in sometime in 2023, sometime next year, right? Okay, let's break it down. So sharding basically means that if you think of Ethereum like one huge database, right, of transactions, this upgrade will be able to cut that database into a lot of different parts, right, smaller pieces, and give those pieces to validators so that they can more quickly read, process, and validate transactions, right? So instead of, if I'm a validator, I don't have to read through the entire history, the entire database. I can read just my little shard, my little piece, and that is going to increase the throughput of the Ethereum blockchain and allow us to do way more transactions, make it more efficient, and make layer twos be more efficient as well, right? Cheaper storage, all of that. So it's like the final piece in this huge puzzle, right? And I think I did a good job of covering that. It's fairly technical. If you want to do more research on it, you can come to ethereum.org and read about it. But yeah, that's basically the three major upgrades of the Ethereum 2.0, which, like I said, is not really a name that we use any longer, but that is the vision of the current growth of Ethereum. So now that you know the high level overview of the Ethereum scaling roadmap, let's talk about money, which I'm sure you want to hear about. So what most people don't realize is that Ethereum is a revenue generating giant, a machine. Like, it is the most profitable thing in crypto. And I'm not just talking blockchains, like nothing I think is even close. So I can actually show you guys better than I can tell you. This website, cryptofees.info, is a perfect tool for this. So what we're looking at now is a comparison of the Ethereum blockchain and the Avalanche blockchain and how much daily fees each one is accruing, right? Daily fees just basically means how much are people paying to use these chains, right? Whether it's buying an NFT, selling an NFT, sending crypto, depositing into a DeFi app. It's just putting your transaction into a block on either of these chains, right? How much are people willing to pay? How much are people paying for these networks? So, we can choose any random day, right? Let's say this one right here. And Ethereum generated on this day, February 9, 2022, $33.8 million of revenue, right? This is just what people paid that day in transaction fees. And on Avalanche, it was 1.1 million, right? So that's a 33x, increase or difference, right? And that just kind of illustrates that Ethereum basically dwarfs almost every other project, not almost every other project, blockchain, dApp, whatever you want to compare it to as far as revenue, right? And this is important because it is going to be shared with stakers, and we'll get into that soon, I promise you. Yeah, so basically, guys, blockchains generate revenue through transaction fees. It's that simple. No matter what chain you're using, whether it's Ethereum, Avalanche, or Polygon, every transaction you make, like I said, NFTs, DeFi, whatever it is, whatever you're doing, you pay a transaction fee, whether it's small or large. You're basically paying it in that blockchain's native coin, right? If we're doing something on Avalanche, that coin is AVAX, right? That's the gas that we're paying. If we're doing something on Polygon, that coin is Matic. If we're doing something on Ethereum, that coin is ETH. I think you get the point. And here's how I'm going to put it, right? I think the bankless guy said it best. Apple sells iPhones, Ethereum sells blocks. It's that simple, really. All right, guys, so I'm going to show you what I mean by blockchains just sell blocks, right? This is my favorite visualization that I like to show people that easily kind of, explains to you how a blockchain works in a super simple way, right? So let's start on the left-hand side, right? These are just apps, right? Whether we have OpenSea, SushiSwap, Aave, and so on, MetaMask. And these little South Park looking characters represent transactions. So if somebody buys an NFT on OpenSea, the transaction will come out of this OpenSea building here on the left, right? And you will see that happen. So as the transaction leaves OpenSea, now it has to get on one of these buses, right? But what are these buses? Basically, each bus is a block, right? To get on this bus, you have to pay a bus fee, right? Which is the transaction fee which you pay. So why is there a pile of buses? Well, that fee gets cheaper, the longer you go back in the line. So if you want to get your transaction, in and right away, just, get it through, you're gonna have to pay more, right? You can pay more. So the expensive buses are here in the front, and those are like priority queue. So if you want to pay more for a transaction, right, you'll get on, you'll pay to get into this block. And once that block is full of transactions, it will get sent off to the blockchain to be ingrained forever. And your transaction is done. You get your NFT, the other person gets the money, and so on, right? So it's super simple. And Ethereum is generating revenue from all these people, all these transactions, paying that fee to get on these buses, right? To get in these blocks. And that's basically it, right? Super simple. So this is how the money is made on a blockchain. It's not really that difficult, right? Hopefully that helped. Before we get into some awesome content, let's talk about the official sponsor of DeFi Donut, PoolTogether, which allows me to give you guys free and frequent videos. Imagine having $73 in your bank account just to wake up one day to a balance of $43,760 because that actually happened to a PoolTogether user just a few months ago. See, PoolTogether is one of those DeFi apps that seems too good to be true. It is a no-loss crypto lottery, which just means instead of your money buying tickets, it is pooled together with other people's funds to earn interest in the DeFi world. That interest earned every week is combined and distributed to a few lucky winners. You can withdraw your funds at any time, so you have absolutely nothing to lose. So head over to PoolTogether.com and get paid to literally save money. Good luck, guys. All right, so I think by now you understand that blockchains make money and Ethereum makes a lot of money. So let's talk about where that money is going today and where it will go in the future, specifically after the merge, and how you can get a piece of that pie. It's important to know that Ethereum is not a company. There is no single warehouse or server farm that keeps this blockchain online. Instead, it's individuals all over the world using their own machines in their garage or basement to update, verify, and validate this global database that we call Ethereum. This is important because Ethereum does not have a single point of failure, no single point of power, and instead distributes responsibility and truth to tons of global anonymous individuals, which anybody can become. And these individuals are probably hated by the gaming community because over the last couple of years, they have been buying up all of the graphics cards to mine Ethereum with, and that's made the hardware prices skyrocket, I'm sure a lot of you know. Basically, these miners are using semi-expensive and very expensive graphics cards to help the Ethereum network validate user transactions, okay? They're grouping these transactions into blocks and sending those blocks to be added to the main chain, right? That's why it's called a blockchain. It's just a huge database of transactions. And of course, they get rewarded for doing so in ETH. But there are some major problems with the mining model of a blockchain, and let's talk about them. They're important because, that's the reason why Ethereum is switching from proof of work to proof of stake. All right, guys, so problem number one is barrier to entry. The barrier to entry financially increases every day. Basically, every year the cost of the mining equipment goes up and your profit margin goes down. This doesn't really sound sustainable, does it? And unless you're willing to do this full time or invest a lot of money and keep reinvesting a lot of money, you can kind of see how that becomes problematic. The goal here is to have as many, individual contributors, validators, miners, whatever you want to call them, all over the world to participate. And it's important that we don't financially limit who can enter, this pool. All right, so just looking at this chart breakdown of the graphics cards that are currently on the market used for mining, their daily profits that you can get from using each one, and the days that it will take to break even and recoup your investment, you can kind of see how it's not that enticing to kind of get started, right? Especially the fact that the lowest day to break even amount is over a year, right? On a $300 card. So this is what I mean by the barrier of entry is getting really high because you're going to need a lot of money to, start an operation in your garage and be profitable. Which ironically leads me to my next point. The miners don't have skin in the game. You don't need any ETH today to start mining. This on top of the fact that, miners have to aggressively sell all of their mined ETH to pay for raging electricity costs and recoup their hardware costs, just means that by nature, economically, a mining model creates an immense amount of sell pressure for the cryptocurrency at hand, which in this case is obviously ETH. And you might argue that miners shouldn't have to care about Ethereum or invest in its ecosystem. They're providing, their own resources to keep the network up, and they're getting rewarded for doing that, okay? Fair enough, I understand that argument. But since these miners are like security guards of the Ethereum network, here's a real life metaphor to put things in perspective. Would you rather have the security guards at your local bank where your family's money is and yours to also have their money sitting in the vault that they're protecting, or have none of their assets in that vault? So that if the bank catches on fire, right, they're not really trying to risk their life to go, save the money or protect the vault. Or if somebody comes along and tries to bribe them to, rob the bank together, their money and their family's money is in that vault. So I think they're less likely to take any types of bribes, right? So it kind of aligns them and it gives them skin in the game, right? So I don't know about you, but personally, I want my security guards to have skin in the game. And all of this leads me to the much anticipated event of Ethereum's next milestone in its upgrade plan, the merge. This will bring an end to the mining model of Ethereum as we know it and introduce what many think or say is a much better approach, right? The proof of stake model. In a quick sentence, the tens of millions of dollars that Ethereum generates through user transaction fees and currently pays to miners on a daily basis will soon be redirected to ETH stakers instead. That's the biggest cash flow in all of crypto, guys, getting shared with the believers and the ETH holders rather than the unaligned, strictly profit-seeking miners. Pretty big. So the Ethereum network will no longer be held up by expensive graphics cards or hardware, as we are dealing away with the whole mining model altogether. Instead, a very basic computer plus ETH coins along with it, I'll explain that in a second, will now be the requirement to help the network validate transactions and get rewarded for doing so. All new ETH coins that come into existence will be distributed to stakers directly, and all of the fee revenue generated by the Ethereum network will also be distributed to stakers directly. Proof of stake just means that you are proving you are a stakeholder by putting up your ETH coins as collateral while validating the network. And your stake can be slashed, right, or penalized if you are a bad actor and attempting to hurt the network. So this way, the security guards of Ethereum are all now aligned and have skin in the game, right? So now they have to be the best security guards they can be or risk losing their own money. Not to mention, this is much more helpful to the environment as way less electricity is used and needed to stand up a single staking validator. All right, so I'm super excited. I know you guys want to talk about the money. I'm going to show you guys how to prepare for the merge, how to stake, and all of your options for getting a piece of the enormous Ethereum pie. So I basically explained the merge and what it means, right? Ethereum is only changing under the hood, guys. Your ETH coins are safe. You don't need to do anything on your end, really. However, the merge is opening up the floodgates of cash and making Ethereum's revenue available to anybody willing to stake their coins. So if you want to make some passive returns, you will need to do something. Okay, so let's go over your staking options, but I think we should go over the more exciting part first, right? How much money we can expect to make? What are some projections that the experts have made of the staking APY or returns that will happen after the merge, right? Let's get into that because it is super, super exciting and surprising. All right, so key community members have made really cool estimation models, specifically Justin Drake, who is an ETH 2.0 wizard. And before we dive in, let's debunk some common confusion, right? This is very important. First off, the annual percentage that you will be seeing advertised everywhere is not in US dollars, it's in pure ETH. So check this out. If Coinbase is offering 10% APY for staking your ETH, that means if you stake 1 ETH, right, for 1 year, your expected return will be 1 ETH coin, right? That's 1/10 or 10%. Doesn't matter what the USD value is of ETH, throughout that year, it will go up and down. That does not matter. Your returns are based in ETH. The cool part is if you get 10% APY this year, right, over the next year, and ETH does a 4x in USD value over the next 3 years, then you really made 40% if you held your coins, okay? So let's get into the next part, which I also need you guys to understand, and it is the 2 separate streams of ETH rewards that are distributed to you as a staker. Number 1, we have the basic issuance rewards. Issuance just means new supply entering the ecosystem. So ETH has a set annual supply, right, which actually will be reduced by something like 90% after the merge happens, after we switch to proof of stake. Less inflation is always a good thing. Basically, all new ETH that comes into existence will be distributed to stakers, and that's where issuance rewards come from, right? The more people that are staking, the less rewards to go around, obviously, because you have to divide that and split that up. So you can expect this number to decrease over time. Second, and lastly, we have the fee revenue portion. So as mentioned before, right, like we looked at the Ethereum and Avalanche comparison chart of how much money is generated every day. That is volatile, but all the transaction fees people pay to use Ethereum is being redirected. All that money is being redirected to stakers as well. The fee revenue will always be changing and will reflect the total usage of the network, on a day-to-day basis. So it is kind of hard to put a, pin on the staking APY, but we have some really, really good models and Excel sheets that I will get to in a second with really, really accurate predictions, in my opinion. The third one, which I won't really talk about much because it's kind of a technical topic, is MEV, maximum extracted value. It is, like I said, kind of hard to understand, but I think we can expect 1 to maybe 4 percentage points added to our returns, right? This is what the experts are saying. MEV, something you want to look into yourself because, like I said, it's kind of tough to explain. All right, guys. So today we're gonna be looking at basically just one sheet, but before we do that, I just want to give a shout out to Justin Drake for putting this Excel sheet projection model, whatever you want to call it, together for everybody to kind of look at. He just updated it today, actually, and this model is what's helping me and a lot of other people make their predictions and projections for the staking APY, right? Okay, so before we start, there are variables. Like we will plug in different prices for ETH, right? We can guess, or we can assume that ETH is 5K and see what returns we get then. We can assume ETH is 8K, 10K, whatever, right? We'll change that. So to start, I feel like a conservative number for the ETH price is 5K. I think that's more than conservative, but whatever. We'll leave it. We'll start with $5,000 per ETH. Next, we have how much ETH do we have staked? And I'm gonna leave it at 32 because this is just the default amount. You can play with it. You can change it to 2 ETH, 10 ETH, 20, 500, 1,000, whatever you want to do, right? So yeah, let's leave that at 32. And then the last variable that we kind of need to touch is the total amount staked. Now, remember I covered this, guys. If there's more people staking, there's less rewards to go around, right? Because we have to distribute these rewards to more and more people. So individually, the rewards are going to go down. Currently, there is about a little over 10 million ETH staked in the staking contract in the Beacon chain. So I think it's safe to assume that in the next 2 years, we'll probably reach 25 to 30 million. That might be conservative. I don't know. So I'm going to leave this at 25 million. And I think we can move on here. Don't get intimidated by all of these other variables here. So I also want to mention that this sheet kind of assumes you are running a validator at home. That's why there is boxes or cells for you to input, like the cost of your internet per month, the cost of your electricity, your computer hardware, all that. I've basically zeroed these out because, we're probably going to focus on liquid staking. But like I said, you can feel free to change this and play around with it. It'll be linked down below. So this is where we want to focus on. These 2 boxes on the right. You'll probably notice that the projection tells us we will be getting 3.2% per year, right? And at 5K ETH, that's a little over $5,000 per year. Now at 32 ETH staked, you're probably like, man, that's not a lot. That's a lot of money. I kind of was hoping there's bigger rewards. Well, The good news is that this is only the issuance revenue or issuance rewards. Remember how I said there's two faucets, right? Issuance, which is just new supply getting distributed to stakers as it enters circulation. And then there's also the bigger revenue faucet, which is fee revenue, right? Every time somebody pays a transaction fee, that is revenue that goes to stakers now. So we have not put that in, right? And if we look at Justin Drake's estimates, at 30 million, he projects that the issuance will be 3% and the fee will be another 5.7% on top of that, right? So let's put 5.7% here. 5.7%. Now you'll notice the number went way up, right? Now the combined APY we're getting is nearly 9%, which is a lot because this is pure ETH, guys. This is not USDML. And if you're like me, if you're a long-term holder, planner, I'm thinking ETH at, $25,000 one day. So, 10% means I get more ETH, and that, how much ETH does that amount to? About 3 ETH at our guesstimate here of 5K. 3 ETH today, or at this time, maybe 5K, but, if the value triples, or quadruples to like 20 or 25,000, we're now looking at, way more money if we just hold. So that's obviously my plan, right? So it's a good tool to kind of, see what your returns will be. And let's kind of change this to, I know a lot of people's ears are going to perk up, but let's change this to $9,000 per ETH, right? And we're also going to up the amount staked because obviously more and more people are going to want a chunk of this pie. So let's change this to 40 million now, which is quite a lot, right? This could be 3 years down the line, 3.5 years down the line. So we don't know. Now that is going to change our returns to 8.3%, which is still $23,000 per year. Okay. Now keep in mind, if ETH price is $9,000 in 3 years or in 2 years, all the ETH we previously got, if we held it, right, even though we're getting like 10%, if the value triples in 3 years, that 10% is now 30%, right? If it goes 4x, now that 10% we're getting in 2022, in 2024, that might be 40%. So to me, staking is about holding. Now, obviously, I'm not saying you should hold. You can sell your rewards if you want, do whatever you want, right? I'm just thinking long term because to me, like the plan is kind of like stack, stake, compound, right? That's what I want to do, for at least like 5 to 10 years. This may change, but I'm just kind of giving you like my mindset. And keep in mind that these are just all like estimates. We don't know the exact APY as far as like how much the gas fee revenue is going to be from the Ethereum network in 1 to 2 years. We don't know. There's variables, what I'm trying to say. So this is just an estimate, but even Coinbase recently sent out an email that they think when the merge happens, the APY, the total APY will be like 10 to 12%. So I think for the first year, the first 12 months from, let's say, summer 2022 to summer 2023, we can expect like 9 to 12% APY total. So I think that's really, really good. After that, like, who knows, right? It's crypto. 1 month in crypto is equal to like 1 year in the real world. So in traditional, finance, whatever. So it's super hard to make estimates like 2, 3, 4, 10 years down the road in crypto. I'm going to link this sheet for you guys down below and feel free to play around with it. So let's get back into the video because we have a lot of other stuff to talk about. All right, guys, so let's talk about your staking options and where you can stake your ETH for those returns. So option number 1, and this is going to be the easiest for most people because it is staking on an exchange like Coinbase or Binance, where you probably already have an account and already have crypto on. The benefits of staking this way is that it's super easy and convenient, right? They take care of the hard stuff, and all you do is just tap your screen and deposit your crypto, watching your rewards go up. That's basically it. Also, you can stake as little ETH as you want or as much ETH as you want. So if it's like 0.5 ETH or 500 ETH, you can stake it, right? That's a huge plus for a lot of people. The downside, so now these are exchanges and they are companies, so they're going to take their cut for this service. And this can trim your staking profits from anywhere, let's say 10 to 25%, right? Hopefully it's closer to that 10% mark. So keep that in mind. And always you should know that when your crypto is on an exchange, you do not own it, right? It's in their custody and you don't truly have control over it. I'd only recommend staking on an exchange if you have, let's say, just a few ETH lying around and you're not a huge investor. You maybe just want some easy returns without doing any work, right? Perfect. Option number 2. Next up, we have liquid staking. And this is awesome because your staked ETH is not locked or in a frozen state while it's collecting rewards. Liquid staking services such as Lido Finance and Rocket Pool allow you to swap your ETH for the staked version of ETH called STETH. And this now acts as a receipt for staking and is sent directly to your wallet. So your staked ETH coins are now in your custody and it grows in value every 24 hours to account for your staking rewards, right? You can either stop here and just watch your rewards grow and forget about it, or you can use that staked ETH receipt coins that you got in the DeFi world. For example, you can deposit it into a lending platform like Aave and borrow more crypto assets against it, right? This allows you to pay bills, make purchases in real life, or borrow more ETH, or get access to more crypto, whatever you want to do. I personally love the liquid staking option and will definitely be using it myself. The major drawbacks of this is that just like exchanges, these liquid staking entities will take their cut, which is around 10% of your future rewards on average. Option number 3, we have staking at home, aka running your own validator. This is the most purest form of staking and obviously the best for the Ethereum ecosystem to keep it most decentralized, but it's not that easy, right? The benefit of running your own staking validator is that you keep 100% of all profits. Also, your ETH is super secure and not on an exchange, right? However, to set this up, besides a standard computer or laptop you will need, you also will need 32 ETH per validator in order to run one. And I know that's pretty expensive. I realize that most people will not have this much ETH to spare. So if you're interested in learning to, set a validator up at your house, I just suggest going to Google and YouTube because I'm sure they will help you out way more than I can. And this will probably change over time. So I'm not going to include, the setup and all that in this video. Option number 4, and this is a super interesting one. So if you don't have 32 ETH, like that's kind of far out of reach for you, you can strive to accumulate half of that. So Rocket Pool is an awesome staking as a service provider, but in a fully decentralized way. It allows people to run their own validators, meaning you keep 100% of the profits, but with just 16 ETH as a requirement instead of the full 32. The remaining 16 ETH comes from people who want to liquid stake because Rocket Pool also offers liquid staking where you can just swap your ETH for, those receipt coins that we talked about that grow in value. Okay. So it's both sides. So if you choose the validator side, right, you put up 16 ETH and that other 16 comes from, Rocket Pool matching you with other liquid stakers that, kind of attach to your node, and you also get a cut of everybody that is staking on your validator. So if you're on the staking side, you actually earn more rewards, right, bonus rewards on top of what the Ethereum raw APY is. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make separate videos on Lido and Rocket Pool and show you how to stake or swap your ETH for, those receipt coins that way. I will exclude the actual tutorials from this main video because I'm sure those will change over time and I'll have to tweak them. So just know your options, like I just mentioned, and that's really the most important part because staking on Coinbase or Binance, super easy, just one tap of a button. Doing your own validator, that's, your own research that you will need to do, and swapping, your ETH for liquid staking coins like staked ETH or RETH. That's also simple, but I'm going to do that in a separate video. Okay. All right, so I think now is a good time to wrap up this video with some frequently asked questions, just maybe in case, you weren't paying attention at some point in the video, or just in general if I forgot or left something out. So question number 1 that is asked a lot, will any of these upgrades fix the expensive fees on Ethereum? And the answer is yes and no, right? So the merge is definitely not, fixing any fees or anything. It has nothing to do with that. But the sharding chain that is like the last upgrade of this roadmap will enable Ethereum layer 2s to, have cheaper transactions. But the thing is, Ethereum is already cheap. There's layer 2s that are built on top of Ethereum, which inherit its security like Arbitrum and Optimism. And they're just different, chains that the transaction fees on there, guys, today are like 50 cents, right? 40 cents. So ETH has already scaled, but that's a whole nother topic. All right. Next question is, how many ETH do I need to start staking? So again, we have a couple of options, right? If you're doing it on an exchange, it doesn't really matter. If you're doing liquid staking, it doesn't really matter. If you're running your own validator at home, you need 32 ETH. If you're running a validator through Rocket Pool, you'll need just 16 ETH. So, that's a great question. And hopefully, that kind of answers it for you. Question number 3, how do I get my ETH staking rewards, right? So if you are running your own validator, when the time comes, you will be able to withdraw your rewards, directly. So again, that's something you will have to look into yourself because I'm not covering validators in this video because it's semi-technical. If you're staking on something like Binance or Coinbase, I'm sure it will be just a simple button like claim rewards or something. If you are, let's say, doing liquid staking through Lido Finance, right? So what happens there is your staked ETH receipt token will increase in value, right? The balance will increase every 24 hours to account for your staking rewards. So I implore you to go to lido.fi, I believe the website is. I'll link it down below. And go to the rewards tab and you'll kind of see how it's all laid out, right? It's super simple. There's nothing difficult about it. Yeah, hopefully that answers that question. And the last question that I want to cover is one I get a lot. Do I need to do anything to prepare for the merge? The answer is no. right? You don't need to swap your current ETH coins for anything. There's no ETH 2.0 coin. That's not changing, right? It's all under the hood stuff, guys. So don't worry about it. You don't need to do anything on your part unless, you're staking or you want to set up a validator or anything like that to participate in the staking of the new network. All right, guys, so I know that was a lot of information and I don't really like long videos myself, but that just tells you how important this stuff is, right? I can't leave anything out because all of this is stuff that you need to know as an Ethereum investor, holder, staker, crypto participant, whatever. This is important for the entire crypto world, not just the Ethereum community. So with that being said, thank you. If you made it all the way through, that's crazy. Comment, because I doubt most people will. And I want to see, who actually did take the time to watch the entire video. If you learned something new, please subscribe and I'll see you in the next one as always.